Of all of the judicial proceedings that I was privileged to participate in, the most sinister was that of Judge Michael Feeney. His was a pre-Enlightenment Star Chamber style hearing where no crime had been committed, no law had been broken. There was no defense, no jury, no evidence, and no witnesses. The only people in the courtroom were Judge Feeney, the plaintiffs with their hearsay and agenda, and myself. The purpose of the hearing was to determine whether a restraining order that had been taken out against me by the Volunteers of America Laurel Manor Nursing Home should be made permanent. Now, I have written in my blog about restraining orders. Restraining orders are not laws. They are judicial decisions. And violating a restraining order, especially a fraudulent restraining order, is not a crime. Restraining orders are judicial derivatives. Just as you have financial derivatives, you have judicial derivatives, which are loosely based on legal fundamentals. This option gives the buyer the right, but not the obligation, to have someone arrested for no particular reason on or before a certain date. But options are risky, and past performance is no guarantee of future results. Now, aside from the fact that this was religious persecution, I didn't know what was going on behind the scenes until I understood that anyone who has a restraining order taken against him can't have a gun. Suddenly, everything became clear. This was nothing more than a ploy on the part of my enemies to defraud me of my constitutional rights, my civil rights, my human rights, and my legal rights. And the precedent for this can be found in the book of Daniel in the Bible. Daniel's enemies knew that he would break the so-called law by worshiping the true God. And my enemies knew that I would break the so-called law by visiting my mother in the nursing home. And the consequences of this were serious. I remember Judge Karla Hansen. It was her job to convict me for having violated the restraining order. Judge Michael Feeney was responsible to make the restraining order permanent. But Judges Karla Hansen was tasked with the actual conviction for violating the restraining order to turn me into a criminal. And I was convicted by a jury of my peers for having violated the restraining order, and nothing more. That's all I was convicted for. In fact, my public defender asked one of the plaintiffs, to your knowledge, was there any wrongdoing on Mr. Tone's part? She said no. But the prosecution carried the day, and the jury was ushered out speedily. They made a quick decision, and the courtroom was cleared. And in order that they wouldn't be able to hear anything else, I guess, although it didn't matter at that point. And Judges Karla Hansen asked me, if I let you go, will you go back to visit your mother? And I said, certainly. She said, well, then I have no choice but to give you the maximum sentence of 1 year in jail. Now, after I was released a year later, a little more than a year later, I continued to go back to visit my mother a couple times a week, and nobody said anything. Blessed be the name of the Lord.